Hi everyone, this is week 11 of our course, and today I will be talking about two different topics. One topic from statistics, which is central tendency, and the other is from the probability chapter, which is going to talk about odds. In statistics, there are many different measures that we will use to determine what data looks like. The first three I'm going to be talking about, they're all called something called central tendency, and that means what does the data tend to be like. The first one is the mean. We usually talk about it as an average, but technically the mean is a specific one of the averages. The symbol that you might see for the mean is an X with a little bar over it. And to get the actual average or the mean, we take the sum of the data and divide it by how many pieces of data we have. So the symbol for that formula looks something like this. It looks pretty complicated, but again, it's just a notation. So again, the X bar represents the mean. That little E looking symbol is a Greek letter sigma, and it stands for the summation of the X's, which are the data, and then N is the number of pieces of data that we have. It's actually fairly simple. So here's an example. We're going to determine the mean age of a group of patients in a doctor's office. If the ages of the individuals are given as 28, 19, 49, 35, and 49. So it's fairly simple. Okay, to do this, we'll just take our formula, which said again to take the sum of the data. So we take the sum of the 5 numbers that we have, and we're going to divide that by the number of data pieces we have, which was 5. To do that, then we add the numbers in the numerator, which will give me 180, divide by 5, and the answer then is the mean will be 36. Another measure of central tendency is the median. The median is the middle value when the data is in order. So when you're doing a median, you must put the data in order from low to high, and then you're going to look for the middle value. So for example, to determine the median of an age group, if the ages are 28, 19, 49, 35, and 49, the first thing we will do is put the data in order from smallest to largest. So it will become 19, 28, 35, 49, and 49. To get the median, we will take the middle score. So since there is an odd number of pieces of data, we will have a middle, and the middle is 35, and that will be considered the median. Now, if we have a set of data that has an even number of pieces, so I have 2 examples. One has quite a few pieces. The other has about 6. We would first do the same thing we did to start with the other one, and that is to rank them from smallest to largest. So for the first example, I would put 9, 11, 11, 12, 14, 16, 16, 17. Now we have a problem with this because there is an even number. There are 8 pieces of data, so there is no middle. So what you will do is you'll go to the middle 2 pieces, which are the 12 and the 14, and you will take the average of the middle. So I will take the 12 and the 14 and find the average of those 2. Okay, in order to do that, you will just add the 12 and the 14 and divide that by 2. So the median for this one is the number 13. Notice it's not one of the pieces of data, and that can happen when you're looking for a median as well as a mean. The mean does not have to be one of the pieces of data. For the other example I had a 7, 8, 8. 8 and 9 and 10, and again an even number. There are 6 of them. This time I will take the average of the 2 middle ones, which happen to be the 2 8s, the second and the third 8. So again, the 2 8s, if you take an average on them, you will get an 8. So this time, even though you have to take an average, the mean did come out to be one of the pieces of data. The third measure of central tendency we're going to talk about is called the mode, and that is the piece of data that occurs the most frequently. So if I look at these pieces of data, 28, 19, 49, 35, and 49, we see that the 49 occurs twice. So the other ones only occur once. So again, a mode will be the thing that occurs more frequently than other pieces. So 49 in this case is considered to be a mode. Now, one other problem that's a little bit more difficult is what if you want to earn a certain mean? So if I want to achieve a mean of 80 and I already have some of my scores, so in this problem I want to achieve an 80 in order to earn a grade of B, I've already taken 4 tests, but I will have to take one more test. So how am I going to determine what score I need on my 5th test in order to get this B in the course? Now, we've just learned in a couple slides before this that to get a mean, you take the sum of the pieces of data and divide by the number we have. So we will be taking those 4 pieces of data plus the unknown, and we need to divide that by 5. So for the solution, you will first take the 80, which is the mean that we would want to achieve, and I will set that equal to the sum of the 4 pieces of data that they gave me. Those were the 4 tests that I've already taken, plus the unknown test, which is X, and that will be all divided by 5. Now, the first equation looks a little bit complicated, but if I simply multiply both of those sides by 5, I will remove the fraction from the right side. So if I multiply 5 times the 80, I will get the 400. And then if I multiply 5 times the fraction, it will take the 5 out of the denominator. So my second line looks a lot better. I now have 400 equals the sum of those 4 numbers plus X. Well, what else I can do now is add the 4 numbers together. And if you add them on a calculator, you'll get 307. So now I need to solve the question, what number plus 307 will equal 400? And in order to do that, we would subtract 307 from both sides of the equation, and that will give me a 93. If you check it by adding the 4 originals plus the 93 and dividing by 5, you will see that you will get 80 as your mean. All right, the last thing for statistics is a range. A range is just very simply the difference between the highest and the lowest. So it indicates the spread of the data. We just want to know how far the data is spread out from the top to the bottom score. So you just take the highest value minus the lowest value. So in this case, we will look at 10 different things. All we'll have to do is find the high and the low. So in this case, okay, we will just look at these numbers. The highest number here is an 80, and the lowest number here we see is a 26. So we will simply subtract 80 minus the 26, and that will give you a 54 for the range. The last topic that I will talk about today is odds. We often hear of odds in horse racing when you say the odds of a winner will be 2 to 3 or 5 to 2. And there's always 2 different things you can worry about with odds. The odds can be for or the odds can be against. So you always have to look to see if the odds are in favor or if the odds are not in favor of something happening. So in this problem, it says the odds against Robin Murphy being admitted to the college of her choice are 9 to 2. It means she has 9 chances that she will not be admitted, 2 chances that she will be admitted. It's very simple to find the probabilities because if there are 9 chances and 2 chances, we know the total number of chances are 11. So in order to find the probability, we will just put each of those numbers divided by 11. So for the first one, if I want to know if she is going to be admitted, we knew that her chance of being admitted was only 2. So I would take that and make it 2 out of the 11. And the chance that she was not admitted was the 9, and we will put the 9 out of the 11. So again, the odds against it being admitted, you take the probability that they fail divided by the probability that they're admitted. So again, the denominators are 11, and I will take the 9 out of the 11, which is her probability she's not going to be admitted, and the 2 out of the 11, which will be the probability that she will be admitted. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. It's not very difficult. Just make sure you add the 2 numbers. That will give you the denominator, but you do have to be careful which was the odds in for or the odds against.